Glen Heights is south of Dallas. It's the first city in North Texas to offer hazard pay for its first responders. City leaders say its small size made that hazard pay possible. Fox 4's Blake Hansen has more on the story. Blake.
Yeah, Heather, at a time when many cities are grappling with funding shortfalls and even potentially laying off workers, Glen Heights is offering this hazard pay to frontline workers. The mayor says they wanted to recognize those workers for putting their lives on the line and serving the community during this unprecedented time. In a bedroom community like Glen Heights, south of Dallas, first responders like Sergeant Lucas Benson are dealing with this pandemic much like their colleagues across the rest of the country. There's been 11 cases in the community of 16,000 so far.
When we get home, we're literally dropping our uniforms in the garage and then going straight to the shower. So there's been changes there, and of course, you know, there's that worry that if I get infected, that I'm gonna have to go into self-quarantine on another site and not see my family for 2 weeks.
But in this small suburb, what some might consider is a disadvantage is now an advantage.
I think this is one of those rare instances where it paid to be the little guy.
City Manager David Hall.
Most cities have a really diversified revenue stream, and we really don't. We have a couple of revenue streams that are pretty significant for us.
Larger cities like Dallas have already threatened to cut expenses to deal with the decline in revenue from sales taxes. And Glen Heights is not as big of a blow.
Not being heavily reliant upon that as a city such as Dallas is, or the larger cities who depend on perhaps entertainment revenue that drives it, we don't. And so again, this is one of those rare instances where our disadvantage is actually now being advantageous.
That advantage now means Glen Heights will offer a $2 an hour bump as hazard pay for police, fire, and public works employees. The pay is retroactive to mid-March.
This was a way the city could stand up and say, we have your back and we understand the stress that you're going through.
Hall says additional money from canceled events and unfilled positions put on hold will also help. The increased pay will continue as long as the local disaster declaration in the city remains in effect.
Right now, barring this thing going out, more than 6 months, because we've kind of planned for a 6-month duration, we're pretty confident that we're okay financially.
Many of these frontline workers already have a stressful job as is. The city says this is a way of recognizing that stress is amplified during this unusual time.
Well, I'm glad that they saw the strain that it's created for a lot of the first responders out there.
Looking around, we know of at least one other Texas city that is doing this, the city of Donna, which is near McAllen. And one thing that it has in common with Glen Heights is that it is also a small city. Stephen, Heather?